console. Okay, we're going to remove 2 screws for the console that are down in there. There's one on this side and one over on this side. So we're going to remove those 2 screws. We're also going to insert the radio removal tools. Each one is inserted into the radio. You can purchase these at the Mercedes-Benz dealer. You have, and they say top on them, so you can't really, you want to put them in the way they say. And they go in. Once they've gone in, they're locked in, the radio pulls right out. So we're going to remove the radio and unplug everything. You'll have to get the radio code either from the dealership or if the customer has a radio code prior to working on the car. Notice that the radio, with the radio removed and unplugged, there's a series of cables. This is which attach to it. There's actually 3 plugs, one that's joined together, one separate, and this plug here. This is the anti-theft piece, plugs into the back of the radio. Now we're going to go ahead and remove this after I take out the 2 screws that I pointed to. Okay, these are the size of the screws that we removed. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in here, and there's 2 more screws up underneath here and here, which are holding this wood piece in. So we're going to remove these 2 screws, and then we'll be taking this wood console, we'll lift it. Now with the 2 screws removed up underneath here, we're going to lift this piece up out of here, and this will come out. This is how we remove the wood here. And you'll have to be careful when you're removing to be able to clear the switches when pulling down and pulling out. Okay. It's best to move the shifter to all the way to low position so that when you lift this out you can pull it all the way up, because it gets stuck a little bit up underneath here. And then you'll go ahead and unplug the ashtray or the seat heaters, the cigarette lighter. Start to detach the plugs from behind the wood panel. Okay, you'll want to pry up underneath these clips on each side to release the switches. And then what you do is, once you've pried and disconnected them, because you have different little clips you have to push down, once you get it disconnected, you can have the whole switch assembly. Leave it plugged in, just leave it there, and then you have one plug that came undone from here. There again, it would be a good idea to put a little wire tie with these 2, and that way you know that these 3, all this goes together in the front panel. Also, you want to notice how when we removed the wood and unplugged the ashtray, this car was equipped with some options, some seat heaters, which we unplugged. So you'll want to keep these, see how they're coming through here and here. Now there's a insert right here, and we're going to remove this insert. It's a little difficult. You have to pry up, and it has to come undone. It's clipped here and up underneath. There's some little areas, but this will come out. Okay. Now we're putting the parts. We're putting all the screws that we take out of the console here into this ashtray, so that we'll have all the screws, the 4 screws that we took out we're going to remove a few more console screws because we're going to take this console out. So we've got 2 screws here that we're going to detach, and then we're going to remove the AC with the screws right here and over here. We're going to remove this. Okay, we've taken the 2 screws out, slide this out, and these plugs come undone. You just press in here and they just unplug, and then this unit is out. We're putting everything in the trunk so that we have everything in order. These are pretty easy to identify plugs, and you just have 2 of them for the AC control. So we're going to remove it, and now what we have, so we have the console open. We still are going to unbolt the 2 screws we showed you earlier at the top, and 2 right here. And then we'll move on. Okay, we've removed the upper screws in the console. Now we're going to lift this up. This is the lower portion of it. Down inside here, you can lift up a. There's a flap in here that we can see that you can, along this edge, you lift this up. Okay, this flap gives us access to the cable controls to the rear vent. And we're going to detach the front and the rear vent cables so that when we remove the console, we'll be able to just leave this in place, the forward cable, and remove the back cable and console. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove this rear cover by putting that dash tool in here, and we pull this after we remove the front cable. Therefore, we'll be able to unplug a few attachments, one on the top, and then we'll be able to remove this and slide it out with the with this removed. We slid this out. It pulls out, and the cable was detached from the center. We just slide it out, take out the rear light, and then we lifted the console. We just pull it up because we have those bolts detached from the rear. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the console. Okay, you see the console, when we lifted the back, it came loose from the front, and we're just going to, okay, with the console removed, the ductwork is exposed to the rear. We detached one cable that went up into the console. Now we're going to address the center portion. Right here, we're going to use the ignition key, and we're going to turn the key and insert a pin and remove this cylinder. Okay, we've used this tool and turned the key from an open position halfway in between the lock. There's a hole, and you insert it, which will release the tumbler. Remove the tumbler and put tape around this, because if you remove the key, all the tumblers will come out, so be careful. And down inside you'll see a screw, and we're going to go ahead and remove that screw, which will then remove this push button. We're going to remove the glove compartment. There's tabs in here. They have locking tabs. Underneath each one, you'll find a you have to pry up a little tab, which is the locking tab. Once this tab is pried up, okay, once we raise this tab up, we can remove the button. There's 4 of these buttons in the glove box that holds the glove box in place. So therefore, we'll remove these, and then we're going to take this light out, and we'll take this insert out. Then we'll be